think of the fund as we are all collectively pushing the far edges of this field further than any of us can do individually. This can only be done as a group, as a society, and as a field.
Welcome back to the SimGeeks podcast. We are your hosts, William Belk and David Schablock. We are joined here today by Jenny Calzada, chair of the SSH Fund, as well as a member of the board of directors for the Society of Simulation Healthcare. Jenny, why don't you give us your background, tell us who you are, and what it is you came to talk to us about today?
Sure. So like you said, I'm on the board of directors and launching this fund, but the people who actually pay me are Tulane School of Medicine in New Orleans, where I'm the director of simulation, and have been pretty much since the Sim Center was built in 2008.
Well, Jenny, tell us about this new fund. I know it's brand new this year. It just got its start. As of yesterday, it was sitting around $37,000. So tell us, what's that money for? How do we get involved in that? Just give us the rundown.
Sure. So the rundown is, honestly, this has been 3.5 years in the making.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure we can all imagine why there was a big pause in the middle of that. So I was actually asked to chair this effort by KT Waxman when she was president in 2019. We did a lot of work. We did a lot of focus groups, interviews, and things at IMSH2023, the last time we were in San Diego. Put together an entire plan with the fundraising consultant that we have working with us and presented it to the board in March of 2020. And then the world turned upside down on its head. So obviously the only decision at the time was let's just put this on the shelf for a minute. And this summer, actually Haru said, I think it's time that we dust it off the shelf. So we kind of looked at that plan, tweaked what we needed to tweak, and we've been in a 100-yard dash ever since then. So, like we said, launched at the society level just really yesterday morning, I guess, in the opening plenary. The board has obviously known about this for a while. Haru did ask all the board, I'm obviously supporting it. I hope all of you will. We had 100% participation from the board immediately. That was part of the announcement that the total from the board alone was almost $25,000. So that was really before IMSH even opened. Obviously, everyone heard this morning from Lou Obendorf that we'd also been talking to him for a couple months. So he has committed $50,000 over the next 4 years.
It's fantastic.
So that'll be great. So we were kind of $37,000 before the doors even opened here.
And that's showing the board members 100% participation. Participation is showing how much they believe in it and shows everybody how important it is.
Correct. Yes. So everyone asks what's this for? So obviously it is, it is separate from operations money. This is not anything. The board doesn't have control over it. If you donate, it stays in this fund and it will only be used for the programs that we're raising for. For this year, in 2023, these funds will be distributed in 2024, and we're looking at 4 different areas right now. So research is a big one because that takes big dollars.
Yep.
The Society has always given early career research awards, but they're only for early career people. They're limited to $10,000. Our hope is to add to that research awards for all researchers, so experienced, multi-institutional, and we're hoping to have an award as high as $50,000 next year. So that's a big game changer for research at the society level. The second one is the SimVentors Innovation Award. That is brand new. I'm going to say exactly what that is a little TBD. So we've been talking to the technology committee about the idea. It's really up to them as to how they want to work this out. But the initial thoughts are, first of all, just having a monetary award connected to the SimVentors Showcase will hopefully really invigorate a lot of people out there in the operations community who may have said, well, I don't know if I want to go through all the work of, making a product to bring there, but if now there's monetary money attached to that might actually be better. And it also can work almost like a little venture capital for those products that really almost could go to market. This might be a little seed money to make that transition.
That's great. So the SimVenture Showcase is something that is very much a passion of ours, and unfortunately we're not able to do what we want to this year. We've been wanting to record it, we've been wanting to do stuff, we're going to try to get over there, but we're booked at the same time. So we're going to see what we can do about it in the future of trying to be an active participant and in that. So the fact that the fund is also doing that is just amazing and outstanding.
Right. So there will be money going to that in 2024, and it depends on, a lot of this year is going to be kind of feeling the field out of what exactly are people really interested in, what are their priorities. So that'll kind of guide some things in the future. What we award may slightly change each year, because it's really, we need to award what the society and what the field wants. What do members think they really need? But the two other areas for this year, so the Beverly Anderson Scholarship, which is needs-based, it's been around for a very long time. It gives you free registration, there's an application process, and then $1,000 travel stipend. Now, I think we all can say $1,000 for travel does not cover the full amount, not even for all of us domestically. And yet we are an international society. Our international membership is growing. If you remember, in Julie Maxworthy's presidency, she came out with the new policy of both registration and membership is tiered now, depending on if you are a low resource or medium resource country. That was done intentionally to really help some of those areas that have some simulation, want to learn more, want to know more, but they just don't have the money that our institutions in the United States do. So we really want this scholarship to also help those people more. It's a half step to get them members of the society, give them access to all the content, but they still can't come participate here we all know if you're here in person, it is a very different experience.
It is, and
yeah.
It cannot be understated.
Yeah, it can't be.
Yeah.
And even if it's the networking ability alone, that is absolutely worth its weight in gold. So for those members in countries where that's not an option, our goal is to get enough money in that fund that we can give at least a $3,000 travel stipend for international people. Again, with that number, we somewhat a little guessed because it's, depending on what country it is, it's going to be different, but we're basically just hoping that we can meet the need. That if you make an offer to someone from India and say, yes, we will give you free registration, that we can cover their travel. Because if we can only cover half, they may have to say, no, I still can't come because I just can't. Because even that half can be a lot.
Yeah, the travel's the largest expense in coming to events like this, right? We just talked about it. Networking's fantastic. There's all these vendors here. We see all these great talks, but it still takes a significant outlay of cash just to get here and then to stay in some of these resort cities, right, where we hold these conferences. I think having sponsorships for that or scholarships is going to significantly improve the chances of people being able to come out.
So, and that's a big help for some of our international members. So, and then the last area is the CHADEPS fund. It continues his legacy. It helps fund the opening plenary. So the speakers on Sunday are his endowed fund, and we'll help add to that.
All right. Well, that's a lot. There's a lot going on. It sounds like we've got great plans for what's going on here. How is it that people can get involved? So if we have folks that want to donate, or maybe they want to donate in other ways in time or help out, how is that, and who do they contact?
So they can, if they want to donate, they can go to SSHfund.org. That will, at the moment, it is a page on the Society's website. I'm going to be upfront that it's a little bare bones at the moment because, like I said, this has been a sprint to get to this part. We're going to build out a lot more, sort of have almost a whole microsite in the next coming months, so that is going to rapidly evolve. There'll be a lot more content up there. We're actually filming some testimonials while we're here with both past scholarship and award recipients, with some of the board and other leadership, just about why they're supporting the fund. That content will start going up there. So we'll have a lot more so I definitely would say check that out, and keep checking in a couple months. There'll be more.
And we'll make sure that we have links in this podcast so that people can donate because it's important.
And there's really two ways. I mean, because we realize we're early in the year. People may not fully know their financial plans for the year. You can just donate and give money right now. That is great. We love you if you do that. You can also make what's called a pledge. It's very common in the fundraising world. So you're pledging that by December 31st, 2023, I will donate $1,000. You could pay it at December 31st at 11 o'clock at night if you want to do it. It's just, this is what you're going to do during the year. We are working with the Society's bank to set up monthly payments where someone could say, I want to do, $50 a month. The Society doesn't have the ability to do that because we don't want to hold your credit card number. We don't want to get in that game.
Yeah.
But the banks obviously do that all the time. So that once that is set up, we'll communicate that out. And then someone could say, well, I want to pledge $500, but I want you to do equal amounts every month. And sometimes that's a little easier on people's finances to do it that way.
And I think it's fair to say also that you said it doesn't have to be a big number.
It could be $1.
It could be, yeah. And that was what you said earlier to me is it doesn't have to be an institution with a 50,000. It doesn't have to be a person that can give 1,000.
Right.
But it's an important cause to be part of. It's a cause. It really is. And even if it's $1, you are part of the fund.
Yes.
And goes a long way.
And we know that people's financial circumstances change. Maybe this year they can only give $1, and then maybe next year they can give $25, and then maybe their circumstances change, and in 5 years they can give $500, and that's great. We love that.
And I love that you're going to spend a lot of time showing where that investment goes and showing how it is bettering our entire industry at all of the different cores. So that's important.
Those testimonials are important because it really shows the impact of your dollar or your $500 or whatever it was. It shows that this is someone who can say, personally, this is how you impacted me, this is how this impacted my career, and that's powerful information for people.
So I know the goal yesterday was to raise at least $45,000 by the end of IMSH, right? And then we just found out that we have record-breaking numbers here. So we're looking at, $2 per person here would completely put us over that limit already.
That would. If everyone at the door tomorrow morning wants to just start handing us $2, that would be great. Yeah, that would. There will be more updates tomorrow morning. We had a number of groups challenging each other last night and this morning, and it was so last minute. It was like, oh my God, this is great, but we can't calculate all this in minutes before the plenary started. So last night, the Accreditation Council, Dawn Schocken, who is their board liaison, challenged them all and said, I want 100% from this council. And on the spot at dinner, they all did it. So we're tabulating that this morning, and I went and spoke to the fellows in their meeting, and a challenge was made to all the fellows immediately. We actually have pledge cards, and I actually had to go back to where we have them and get 2 more stacks for them. So I'm hoping there's a lot from that. So we'll have quite a few updates in the morning on and of course, everyone heard Lou's challenge this morning when he stepped up there saying, I've made a multi-year commitment, challenging all of us to do the same.
Leading by example. So
yes.
I'm not going to speak for Will, but I know I will be donating personally myself.
And when you do, you will get your nice little SSH donor ribbon.
Very nice.
Now, these are, we have donor ribbons this year because it was quick, it was last minute.
Yep.
In the future, we will, so starting in 2024, we will have enamel lapel pins that will say you're a donor from the 2023 campaign. That when everyone comes next year who was a donor, they'll get their lapel pin. We plan to have a donor wall but really all society events, so IMSH and SimOps starting in 2024. So it'll have the typical, here's the people that gave more than 100, and here's the people that gave more than 500, and so we've established multiple levels, but the highest one is the President's Circle level, which is $1,000 or more in a year. I can tell you more than half the board was at that level.
getting to be a big circle very quickly.
That's a great problem to have.
It is.
And don't downplay the fund ribbons. They look great. They're rainbow colored. I really like them, actually.
They are. Andrew Spain asked me, he's like, well, what color do you want? And I said, well, what do the other ones look like? And he's like, well, they're all like bright primary colors. I said, well, I want to stand out. And he's like, well, we can do rainbow. I want rainbow.
We adore Andrew. So that was, I almost wish I got to see that conversation. That's great.
He's like, rainbow it is.
Oh, yeah. He would be all about that.
Yeah.
He's just lovely.
All right. Well, Jenny, thank you so much for your time. And obviously, you guys are doing great work here. We're really glad to hear about it. And obviously, massive amounts of money rolling into this fund, considering it just opened a couple of days ago. So we're glad to hear that as well. Anything else you want to leave our listeners with about the fund, about IMSH, about the society, anything that you want to say to the simulation community?
When you think about the fund, because I've gotten this question from people in the last 24 hours of, well, why doesn't the society just fund this stuff themselves? And there's two problems with that. First of all, we're talking about taking research awards from 10,000 to 50,000. That's a significant jump.
Yeah.
And if that happened, the society would probably have to raise member rates and registration, which no one listening to this is going to be happy about. But the bigger problem with raising that is that impacts everyone equally. Everyone pays, other than these low resource countries, but everyone pays the same registration and membership. And if you raise it for everyone, there are people perhaps at the bottom end who would get pushed out and would not be able to participate.
Absolutely.
But doing something this way, those people who have been in their careers for a long time or have had a lot of success are able to fund more than people, because it's obviously voluntary and you give based on what you can. And so it's a little more equitable that way. But also the things we're talking about are really, our goal is to really transform healthcare simulation and really push the boundaries. We want to close up all those research gaps that are out there, because that is what's going to get even more research money. If you were at the Research Summit, you heard the NIH people talk about, we don't do a lot of RO1s for simulation because we don't have money dedicated to it, but the only way to get money dedicated to it is you guys have to propose more things. And it's like, so you want us to propose for money that doesn't exist, but we're not sure if we're going to get it. And so we need to have that medium level of research that's going to get all that data that's going to help justify these things. And then the big NIH money can roll in, and that is what will push this field forward. So I just think of the fund as we're all collectively pushing the far edges of this field further than any of us can do individually. This can only be done as a group, as a society and as a field.
And to borrow the same analogy everybody makes when they're doing stuff like this, if you can forego that one cup of coffee to help somebody else attend something like this or be a member of the society or have access to online education, it doesn't have to be a significant amount of money. It's anything that you can contribute is helping someone else that can't otherwise attend or be part of this. I'm really hoping that over the next couple of days we see us meet that goal, which it sounds like we already have, but also we see some big numbers come in, and we'll of course have to update our listeners in the future after this because we just don't know yet. But
yeah, so we'll start having like tracking update information on the website when we get things overhauled, and so there'll probably be some nice fancy little tracker on there in the future.
Perfect.
So
we hope that a lot of our listeners will do the same thing that we've done, and we're going to donate.
Great.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll see you around here over the next couple of days.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us in Orlando, Florida for IMSH 2023. We're live on the show floor with Jenny Calzada. Thank you so much.
Thanks.